up, guys? Brandon aka Drip back with another video. In this video, I'm doing a highly requested video for my couple of combos tutorials on my current build on Galaxy Eyes Dogmatika. A couple of things on this deck I want to say real quick before we get into the video is if you followed my channel for a while, you know that outside of Blue Eyes, Thunder Dragon, and all that, Galaxy Eyes is my baby. I'm always trying to find different ways to try to put itself in the rogue or as high competitive as it can be category. This build is, my personal opinion, Dogmatika is in a weird place right now. In this format, it's not as good as it was last format. My opinion, to be able to compete at the higher level, they have to win the die roll. That's in any build really, because most of the decks that are top tier right now, you need to be able to pop their stuff, and that's pretty much what Dogmatika does. That's just my personal opinion. You can take it or leave it. If you have different, that's all on you. That's fine. We're all voice our own opinions. But there's gonna be different ways. Like I'll do a couple of combo tutorials explaining stuff, and then we'll do a couple test hands for consistency to show you guys. But like one thing I will say is whenever I do a combo, I'm not saying it's the best way. I'm not saying it's the the right way. Yes, there's other ways you could probably end on a bigger board. There's probably ways where I'm going to do it and I'm going to end on a less board or a bigger board or whatever the case may be. Yes, because a couple of you guys have been commenting like, hey, if you did this and this and this, you would have gotten that and that and that. And I understand that. It's just we all approach combos different ways. But it is what it is. Live and learn. But I'll show you guys a way you can summon this guy, and it can be really catastrophic, and you get in the continuous loop of him and another card in our deck that we play that is really good, and where pretty much Zeus doesn't hurt us at all. But one thing I will say is if you guys want to see a more competitive version of Galaxy Eyes with a hybrid version of Galaxy Eyes, obviously pure Galaxy Eyes. If you want to see a regular regular deck profile on that, I can do that too, because a couple of you guys have actually been asking for a hybrid version, a different hybrid version that was more budget friendly. If you would like to see something like that, I'll be more than happy to do that for you guys. I love making Galaxy Eyes videos for you guys. I just feel like sometimes I don't want to bore you guys doing the same decks over and over again. So, but if you request Galaxy Eyes videos, I won't complain. I'll be more than happy to make them for you. But let's go ahead and get into this video. Get into the combo. The first combo I'm going to do is it's going to be pretty much the basic Dogmatika Galaxy Eyes combo, and we can go ahead and get into that right. All right, guys. Now that we're at the combo part, if you have your hand where it kind of looks something similar to this, it doesn't have to be this exact hand. Obviously, it's pretty much an extender and a starter, or two different starters. So in that case, the starters wise being Galaxy Soldier or Photon Sanctuary. And then the rest of them are just extenders with Dogmatika card. Obviously, if you didn't have Dogmatika card, you could literally just go full Galaxy Eyes combo with this, no problem. That's what I like about the Dogmatika cards. They don't get in the way. They help you extend, and they help you get into your rank 4s. They help you get bonus negates. That's why I like them in this deck. Not only that, they're just gorgeous artwork on their own. But yeah. What I would do here, honestly, is, like I said before, guys, it's not the best way to do it. It's just the way I would do it. I would activate Sanctuary. Give us 2 tokens. Two Kaiba tokens. Sorry, I don't have no Kite tokens. Leave me alone. Then what I would do is I would special Vanisher. Let me go ahead and zoom out of the ×30 zoom, okay? Special the Vanisher. The Vanisher would activate to search us our Photon Dragon. We'll add our Photon Dragon to hand. Now this route on this combo, what I will say is it will not play around Nib very well. The best way to honestly play around Nib that I've noticed with this deck, or this build rather, is when you open Photon Photon Dragon and Soldier. That's the best way, because you literally just start that. You do your combo a little bit backwards, and you pitch the Dragon to summon the Soldier to search Knight. Summon the Knight, and then your fourth summon is literally number 90. So you play around it that way. But you can. This one doesn't play around it. But it doesn't matter. Even if they nibbed us, it would suck. But it is what it is. Now what we can do is we have our 2 tokens. What I always say, whenever you have the 2 tokens, whenever you use Sanctuary, always hold Sanctuary until like your last movement. So you don't want to like use your tokens and then you have no extenders. So what I mean by that is you save your tokens for your last summon, in my opinion, because if you get hand trapped and you don't really have any other plays, then you're kind of screwed, honestly. So what I'll do now is I will pitch the Dragon, summon Soldier, and then I'll use Soldier effect to search Knight. Now what I will do is you can link away the tokens to go into what I would go into is I would go into Union Carrier, honestly. So I would go into Union Carrier effect, target itself. You can target anything on your board, but I target itself to immediately equip Orbital to him. Then Tribute Orbital off to search your... I'll search a Cleric for a follow-up, honestly. I don't really think we need anything else. So we can search our Cleric. Search the Cleric. Normal summon the Knight. Special summon. Let me see here. It's not really in view. Okay. Special summon the Dragon. Then what we do now is, even though it's kind of too late for Nib, too late for us to really play around Nib, we'll go into our rank 8. Always gonna be number 90. Now what we can do is we can special summon Advancer. Now, and then we can overlay Advancer and that Vanisher and Advancer to go into Blast. Sadly, we don't have a Photon in hand to summon off of its on summon effect, because its on summon allows you to special summon a Photon. One thing I will say is when we used Orbital to search, you could have searched a Photon and instead. But the reason why I searched Cleric is because if you would have saw how we played all those cards and like if they would have nibbed us, Cleric would have helped us play not really through nib, but where we would still end on a better board than just a token. So let's say I'll back up and I'll keep the board as is, but I'll say we didn't search Cleric. It's just kind of gutsy not to search Cleric, my personal opinion, because I always want myself personally when I play, I always want to build for like a follow up, because I always want to play as if my opponent has nib, because I know nib is one of the worst cards for me to play against with this deck. So let's say we didn't. Let's say we searched a different Photon. Let's just say we searched another Dragon itself. Okay, let's say we searched another Photon Dragon. All right. And then on summon, we'll summon this. We'll summon the Photon Dragon, okay? So now what we could do is we would link 2 into Soul Flare. you would have a decision to make here. Okay, what I mean by that is, you could. This is what your graveyard is. So you could either grab back any of these three. I wish we could grab back Sanctuary, but we can't. A lot of people, the number one play a lot of people would do is grab Orbital, because they want to make something like where it can be destroyed by battle. But what I personally would do, a lot of people wouldn't agree with it. I would actually grab the dragon back to your hand. So when you do a search on your opponent's turn, if you won't have to search the dragon for the Soul Flare pop, if that makes sense. So like, let's say even if we use his effect and it actually gets ashed, we already got the dragon in hand, so we don't have to worry about not being able to, Soul Flare's effect not being able to go through, if that makes sense. Yes, Orbital is good for a follow-up, but it is what it is. To be able to, for your stuff to definitely go through it's a lot better. Now that our Galaxy Eyes combos are done, we can go into our Dogmatika combos. That's one thing I forgot to mention. If you don't really know that much about Dogmatika cards, one thing you need to know is you use them last. If you played in the Orcust era, Orcust cards, whenever they were hybrid in other decks, you always wait to use them last. Because of them locking you into stuff. So these guys lock you out of your extra deck. So in this case, you would special summon Ecclesia. Since you have a card special summon from the extra deck, now you can use her effect to search. When she's summoned, you don't have to use her effect. So like, let's say you needed another level 4 to go into blast. If you didn't have another extender, you could summon her, not use her effect, so she doesn't lock you out of your extra deck unless you declare her effect. Then you can go into your overland to blast if you needed another level 4. But in this case, we're fine. We use her effect to search. We used to play the trap card, but we're not anymore because I always bricked on it. So we're going to search Fleur. So with that hand that I showed you guys, if you played it gutsy and didn't search, Cleric, this will be your ending board. You have everything on board except for Ecclesia, because she's not 2,000. So and this because it's not 2,000. So these guys can't be destroyed by card effects because of him. You have 1 pop, 2 pop, and 2 pops, a negate, 2 negates. So you got 4, possibly 5 interruptions, because this one can also special summon a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon on your opponent's turn. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 interruptions, not including its search effect, 5 interruptions, but the 5th one doesn't really count because you're not really doing nothing but searching, which in this case you would actually search Cleric for the follow-up definitely at that point, because if they broke your board, you could just normal summon Cleric, shuffle literally 90% of your resources back, draw 2, make the same board again. So like, let's go ahead and play this board out real quick. So I would pass turn to my opponent. On their standby phase, I would activate his effect to search. In this case, like I said, we'll search Cleric. Search Cleric for the follow-up. This is our hand down here in the corner, guys. I'm trying to make it to where you can still see it. Sorry. Give it a cut. Alright. So now what we'll do is like yada yada yada, negate. You keep the photon attached because that's where his destruction effect comes in handy, where it can be destroyed by card effect. Keep photon attached to him if all possible. And then we could detach, we send a pop. If you didn't need the Fleur negate, if you did not need it, then you can use the blast to detach from their turn to special summon a Photon Dragon from your grave, if you didn't need it. So now what we would do is, if let's say we slowed them down, let's just say they had 1 card on field, they T-set passed. Alright, we would draw for turn, which is really, that right there is really gross, because if we didn't need the Fleur, now with the trade-in is live. So we would go trade-in, discard the fleur, draw. Literally nasty, because guess what? If you need another little lake, right there it is. Very good. That's very good. So what we could do now is we can use, if Union Carry lived, let's just say Union Carry didn't live, but even if it did live, then you could just use its effect to attach, and then you can link it away. But let's say it actually died, it got blown up or whatever. In this case, we don't really need Ecclesia anymore, so we can link into another soul flare, our last soul flare. Soul Flare's effect to add something back from grave. In this case, we can add back the I don't even know what to add back here. I mean, either way, it's pretty much game, honestly. Just add back the just add back the orbital. Just add back the orbital for the extra protection, because we can equip it to blast. So now this is our hand. What we could do now is we switch our boys to attack. We're not going to enter battle phase yet. Switch our boys to attack. Equip orbital to blast, so he gets a 500 attack boost. And he can't be destroyed by battle. So now he can't be destroyed by battle, and himself can't be destroyed by card effect, because he didn't meet the requirements before because he wasn't 2K. Now we start the shuffling effect, where we can, well, let me see. We haven't even done, we done one summon. Cleric makes 2 summons. Shuffle back Soul Flare. 2, 3, 4, 5. So literally, we just shuffled back all this. Literally all of our resources that we had for Galaxy Eyes just got shuffled back into the deck so we can play the grind game. And then we draw 2. 1. Nib. Nib's pretty much dead at this point, but it is what it is. What we can do now is special summon. Do not use her effect. And then remember we said they T-set in past. What we can do is literally just do Galaxy Eyes stuff, honestly. Do what Galaxy Eyes does best. We can just make, I mean, pretty much got game either way. I'm always scared of back row, so I would summon Blade. Detach Blade. The pop. And then I would use a Cleric to attack over the face down and attack for game. But that's it for the first combo. Let's get into the next one. Alright guys, here's combo part 2. This one's going to be pretty much on the Zeus loop. Because I'm drip with Zeus. That's my gamer tag. So I have to show you all the drip right on the sauce. But anyways, if your hand looks something like this, it don't have to be like this entirely. Just pretty much literally these are the only ones that really matter, honestly. Because you need to get into your stuff in order to get your search. And another way to get into a rank 8, it don't have to be expedition, because you're not going to search soldier off of this. You're not going to search knight off of this. Yeah, you just need a different way to get into rank 8 pretty much. And this is if you're going second, of course. So obviously I don't have no hand traps here because hand traps do obvious things. This is if you don't have traps, this is how you're just playing through stuff. Majority of what I would do is I would obviously do this dump. If they hit this, then it's perfectly fine. We could still do most of it. It just won't have as good of a follow-up, but it is what it is. Majority of the people, if they won't hit it because you have 4 cards in hand, and you might already have the card that you may need. You still have 4 cards in hand. So you pitch that. Pitch that to search. This is where you search cleric, guys. You search cleric. Okay. Not crazy. So this is your hand. Make sure you can see it. Okay. This is our grave over here. Okay. So now what we can do is we can special effect to search. Let's just say they negate that or whatever. It's fine. Negate it. Blah blah blah. What we can do now is activate expedition. Okay. Expedition. And we're going to special another soldier. Okay, that's your 3rd summon. Okay. So now we're going to overlay into obvious cards. Nova, and that's 4, and that's 5. Okay. Now that we've burned our expedition, now this is the rest of our hand. We control 2 light monsters. So now what we can do is we'll probably absorb one of their monsters. And then we would special summon order. God, I can't even talk, guys. It's been a long night. This is actually needs to be, I'm sorry, I forgot. It's been a long night, guys. This actually needs to be Sanctuary. Needs to be Sanctuary. Sorry. Needs to be Sanctuary. Ugh. So now what we'll do is you would enter battle phase and you would attack over what you could. Attack over what you could. And then you would go to main phase 2. And then you go main phase 2, and then you would summon Zeus. And then if you didn't break the board, remember this will have additional material because you absorbed 1 with Infinity. So you would detach 2 to send everything to the graveyard. Okay. Here's the graveyard. You haven't burned your normal summon yet. So, you can normal summon cleric. Cleric's effect. So at this point, you've already attacked, done damage, summoned Zeus, and broke their entire board. 5 right there. That's 5. The reason why Sanctuary is kind of important, I guess you didn't really need it. It's just Sanctuary helps you like keep looping the cleric. It could have been another form of 2 extenders or whatever. So we draw 2. We have nib. So now I guess what we can do is we can use Sanctuary, give us 2 tokens. Okay. Link one of the tokens and cleric away. Obviously we'll just end up having to keep 1 token. That's fine. It is what it is. It's still a card, I guess. Soul Flare effect to add back the cleric. Add back the cleric to our hand. So this is our hand, actually. It's not too bad. Photon Dragon, Nib, and Cleric. The reason why you want to add back the Cleric is because on your opponent's turn, you want to have Zeus again. So we would pass to our opponent. They would try to do anything. You could discard the pop since you have this in your hand. Detach 2 more materials. Send everything to the graveyard. Token. Token over here. And then they would probably most likely end up passing. And then you could just beat them down with Thrasher. I mean, with Sky Thunder. But yeah, that's majority of it. That's pretty much what you do. You keep looping Cleric, and you keep recycling your materials. Yeah, I don't have 5 in there right now because I have Cyber Dragon and Infinity. But the normal combo, it would actually be number 90 instead of Infinity. But with that hand that I showed you to play around Nib, that's how it was. If you didn't want to worry about playing around Nib, then you would have number 90 engraved instead of Infinity and Nova. So you would have enough to summon Cleric again, recycle the materials back, draw 2, and then make your entire board and just punch them in the face for game. Which it don't matter. By the time you summon Zeus and you punched the first time, and then you summon Zeus, broke their board, and then used it again and poke again, they would probably end up scooping at that point. If not, then something's wrong. But no, in the regular combo, you would have summoned a level 8 and then Expedition to summon another level 8 and made number 90. So your normal graveyard would have been this. I was just showing this as extender, so this would have been like a Brave or something. So you reveal this and summon this. So this would be the normal graveyard. So pretend that this is like a material and then number 90. So you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You would have these right here, not order, don't pay attention to that. But these would be your 5, and then you would shuffle those back and then draw 2, and you would just completely like plus out the yin yang and make probably combo. But with that hand that I showed you guys, it was just the Galaxy Soldier route, which is kind of slower than the number 90 route. But that's actually the gist of the video, guys. If you want me to go in more depth with the AA Zeus, I can. I just didn't because I was just wanting to show you guys that it is an option, and I was wanting to show you a little bit about the loopity-loop between Cleric and himself. Cleric and like Zeus, where you can just pretty much stay in the ground game and completely just keep throwing your opponent's field away. But the best way to do that is make sure when you're in the process, because Zeus is pretty much refilling your grave at the same time. But if you're not as scared of if you have the proper hand, once you know the deck, you'll know what I'm talking about when you have the proper hand to do certain things. Like that hand I showed you, it was the safer route to play around Nib, because I know a lot of you guys worry about Nib too. So, but if you're not as worried about Nib and you're just going to live life on the edge, then you would summon. You would go into your rank 8s first. But moral of the story, like I said, the only cards that really matter in your hand is literally Soldier. That's it, going second. And as long as you have other ways to get into rank 8s, that's all that matters. If you have other ways to get into rank 8s and you have Soldier, that's all that matters. Because the rank 8s will get you there, and then Soldier will search your Cleric for the follow-up. And you don't have to, at that point, you're not really worried about breaking their board with the Galaxy Eyes cards. You're worried about baiting out their negates. Because if you bait out their negates, as long as you still have XYZ on board, guys, you will attack with that XYZ. No matter what it is, I don't care if it's Blast, I don't care if it's like number 90, I don't care if it is number 42, I don't care if it is full armor, I don't care. As long as you have a XYZ on board after you have already baited out all their negates, then you summon Zeus and punish them. You summon Zeus, you have Cleric in hand, you break their entire board, you normal summon Cleric, and you shuffle your stuff back, you draw 2, and if you still have the resources in main phase 2, you make your entire board. Because Galaxy Eyes combo board is not that hard to make. So moral of the story is you bait out their negates, you hold your normal summon. You have to be able to hold your normal summon. Hold your normal summon, bait out their negates, attack with one of your XYZs, overlay this on top of it, blow up their entire board, main phase 2, normal summon Cleric, shuffle your entire stuff back, draw 2. At that point, you probably have 3 to 4 cards in hand, possibly be able to do combo, then you just completely punish them. That's pretty much the gist of the Zeus loop with Cleric, and that's pretty much the different combos. One thing I didn't really go in depth or detail about is Nadir Servant itself. I'm going to go ahead and just say real quick about it. Like, anytime you have this in your hand, but you don't have Ecclesia, it's just like Ecclesia, pretty much, because they're both dogmatic cards. Just wait until the very last thing to use this. It's just this card's not really that good to draw in this personal build because I don't run anything that gives me a plus about activating this on turn 1. This is only for board breakers, honestly, because you send Elder Entity Intis to the graveyard and pop your opponent's cards. So that's the reason where this comes in handy. So this is not as good going first as Ecclesia is having in hand. Because this will get you Ecclesia, and Ecclesia will get you Fleur, but this is better to activate on turn 2. But that's it for the combo video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. I do apologize that I didn't really show the other way, but the non-safe way, but I showed you the safe way with Galaxy Soldier. But like I said, if you want me to go in more detail about this card, if you are planning on running a little loop build that I found out you can run, by all means, let me know. I'll make another video on it. Or you can join the Discord and we can talk about it and discuss it. But that's it, guys, for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. This deck is really fun. Yeah, it's a little pricey to be non-meta deck, but if it's a deck that you love, then I would spend anything on it, honestly. It'll probably end up changing definitely once we get Afterglow, but honestly, in this build, I don't plan on running more than 1 Afterglow, and in Pure, I don't plan on running more than 2. Because it's restrictions where you have to control a Galaxy Eyes card is kind of crappy, because when you play against a lot of decks where they stop you from getting your Soul Flare, or they hand trap you enough to where you have to go into Union Carry to get Orbital, you don't really get a chance to get into Galaxy Eyes. You always have Galaxy or Photon. So that stuff does come up where I've been playtesting on EDO and stuff like that. So one of is really nice because once it resolves, and once you get it in rotation with Graveyard Soul Flare hand, it's really nasty anyway. So technically you only need 1 in the rotation because it's searchable, just like everything else in the deck. But that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked the video, and let me know what your thoughts are, what you want me to do next, deck profiles you want me to try to do. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful night. I enjoy making these video games for I'm sorry, it's been a long night. Videos for you. But yeah, you guys stay safe, happy and healthy whenever you may be watching this, and you have a good one. Drip out. Peace.